lovers of lore, thank you for joining me for this Lost Caverns of Ixalan lore installment. Now, we already covered the entire written story, but more information has been released from Wizards of the Coast surrounding the entire world of Ixalan, Inner Ixalan, and more specifically, all of the gods that reside there. So this episode is specifically going to focus on the gods of Inner Ixalan. We're starting out discussing Chimil, the god star that floats in the center of Inner Ixalan. She is the All-Mother, the creator of mankind, gods, and actually Ixalan itself. Without Chimil, there is no life. Even on the surface, they know of Chimil as the threefold sun. Located in the center of Inner Ixalan, gravity is defined by Chimil, and it's always directly downwards from where Chimil is currently hanging in the sky. She does not take a direct hand in the affairs of mortals. She birthed 5 deep gods to care for the land and its people in her stead. The current inhabitants of Ixalan are known as the Winak, otherwise known as the Fifth People. Chimil is not just the source of life on Ixalan, she's also the source of all the cosmium in Inner Ixalan. Cosmium is a magical mineral that enhances magical properties of items and abilities of people as well. The Oltec tattoo themselves with cosmium, and the tribal rite of passage for the Oltec is a lengthy quest that culminates in flying a giant bat to the God Star to acquire cosmium directly from the cosmium reef that constantly trails around Chimil. Until this rite of passage is complete, no one is allowed to hold leadership positions in Oltec society. Cosmium has the additional property of satisfying vampires' bloodlust. It can be consumed in place of blood. It's theorized that this is because cosmium is actually the blood of a god, specifically in this case, Chimil's blood. The metal that hangs in orbit around Chimil is wreckage of an ancient war that was fought against Fomori invaders. Ultimately, Chimil is the most enigmatic and powerful of all of Ixalan's gods, and the Oltec venerate her by designing their cities in the shape of a 9-pointed star. Next, we're going to talk about the 5 deep gods of Inner Ixalan. If you get really technical about it, there are actually a bunch of sub-gods as well that exist, but they're all really just aspects of the main 5 gods. And the chief god amongst them is Tok, a giant towering god with 3 faces nestled inside each other. Tok's garments have all of humanity's history nestled within them, both past and future. Tok is the goddess of civilization. She's the divine embodiment of the Fifth People, a divine congress that encompasses all of Ixalan's humanity. Tok is the main god of the Oltec and is strongly tied to all aspects of civilized life. The next god we're going to discuss is Pakpatik, who is a humongous flying feathered serpent. Now, Pakpatik is the mate of Tok and is also the god of cyclical time. Now, Pakpatik is renowned for his loyalty to Tak and for being forthright and direct. Temples dedicated to him are places of learning, and his followers, known as Didacs, believe in being direct and working for the betterment of all people. Priests of Pakpatik are both educators and explorers, willingly teaching anyone who wants to learn. The next god we're going to discuss is the most visually terrifying, and that's Aclazotz. His skull has no flesh, and it's wreathed in gold. He also has a titanic arm formed from a dinosaur. Aclazotz is the warrior god, the impetuous younger brother of Tok. He was responsible for defeating the dark god Aclazotz and imprisoning him in chains of gold and cosmium. Aclazotz is served by the 1,000 Sons. The 1,000 Sons are the only warriors in Oltec society, 1,000 warrior priests who live outside the normal Oltec existence in direct service of the warrior god. the most absurd-looking god is Oger-Kaslam. This deep god is comprised of 2 giant serpent tails, an old lady's face, and a mass of giant butterfly wings for a head. Kaslam is the goddess of nature. She breathed life into the world that Chimil had created. Joyful and chaotic, she's worshipped by farmers and gardeners. Her temples are smaller affairs that are spread across the wilds. She's known as the quiet god. And the final god we're going to talk about is the dark god Aclazotz. He appears as a giant, burning, decaying bat. He has but one eye, having lost the other one to Chiminl in the Whispering War. He wears the finery of a deep god, but it's not really his. Aclazotz is a pretender god. He is not one of the 5th people. He's actually the very last of the 4th people. He fed on the entirety of the 4th people, and then through trickery, he slid through the veil between worlds and witnessed Chimil giving birth to the deep gods. Aclazotz had a great fear of death, and that's what had led him to consume all of the 4th people in a bid to extend his existence. Upon seeing these gods, Aclazotz had the sudden hope of becoming eternal. So he waited, and after the first 4 deep gods had emerged into Ixalan, Aclazotz struck. He leapt upon the remaining god and consumed their essence. Thus Aclazotz gained dominion over the veil between life and death. Until now, whenever someone died, their spirit would remain and their existence continued. But Aclazotz changed all of that. When people died, they would cease to exist. This brought the concept of true mortality to the Oltec. In terror, some submitted themselves to Aclazotz to receive the gift of unending life. And this is how vampirism was born onto Ixalan. Some Oltec engaged in horrifying rituals to gain Aclazotz's favor. This served to tear apart society, leading to the Whispering War. The gods banded together, and Aclazotz was defeated and imprisoned. The natural order of Ixalan was restored, and at that point, the spirits returned. All right, my friends, that ends our journey with the deep gods of Inner Ixalan. I really did enjoy getting to learn more about these gods that we really didn't get to hear about in the written story. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. A big thank you to the channel's members and patrons for supporting the channel. And if you like what we're doing here, consider supporting our channel by joining the channel membership or the Patreon. In the meantime, go and enjoy some more magic lore on this channel, or maybe even another type of lore. There are a few other non-magic lore videos hidden on the channel too. Go take a peek for them. Remember, my friends, lore is life.